going on, everyone? This is Alex Quinn, and you're listening to the Hustle Inspires Hustle podcast. Today, we have Scott Haug, founder of the Energetics Program and Prosperity Magnet. Today, we're going to talk about everything mindset. What's going on, Scott?
Hey Alex, thanks for having me on. Really
Yeah,
grateful to
of
be here.
course. Yeah, I'm glad that we got connected. I was watching some of your videos, and um, I feel like what you do is extremely important because a lot of people think that just working hard all the time will bring you results, but how you talk to yourself or how your internal voice talks to you makes all the difference. And with that comes many topics like mindset, manifesting, and a lot of the things that you talk about. So I appreciate your time being here today, man. I'm excited to chat.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, going out there and doing a business or going out there and being successful in whatever goals you have, it's all an internal game too. Any of the big ones out there you see. So I'm grateful to explore a conversation around that because I think it's everything. So
How'd you get into this?
yeah, so originally I actually went to university for 4 years, had that promise of like go to college, go get a great job, raise a family, do all that stuff, right? Big promise, but didn't feel very fulfilling. So I actually did a job in engineering for 6 months
Okay.
and I hated it. I was in a cubicle and I was like, this can't be it. There's no way. Like, I felt like there's a part of me that was just dying internally. So I made a transition to being an entrepreneur. I'm like, I gotta control my life in some sort of fashion. So I tried a bunch of businesses, all the different business models out there. Nothing really landed for me. Nothing felt like this is my purpose. This is what I was born to do. Until I met a guy named Bob Proctor, the guy that was in The Secret. Uh, I went to a seminar and he basically was like, if you were in a place where you're down and out or you were depressed or you just felt like you didn't like yourself in moments, and that was me. I just felt like I was all over the place internally. He said, why don't you go out there and start helping people with their mindset or internal side? And that was like a click for me that ever since that day, I felt in that moment, I was like, this is it. This is what I was born to do. Because I have a background in martial arts. I've been teaching kids and adults for like 25 plus years.
Hmm.
And then personal development, I've been doing even when I was in college. I felt like it saved my life. So I went out there and started helping people with depression, anxiety, just helping them from the inside out. And ever since that day, here I am, keep doing it. So
Super cool. So that was a catalyst, and then from there you knew that this was something that you would want to carry on. And I see you're very organized with it, man. You're dropping a lot of content. You know, you have an offer based around your offering, like your service. You have a community. I saw that you're on school. You have a good amount of members on school. How's that? How was the adjustment to the digital marketing side and to the content side, right? Because one side is helping people building plans, building curriculums, all of that, but a whole other side is being on top of all the content and dropping content and you like learning how to use these softwares. How was that transition?
yeah, that's the tough part about it because a lot of people that are coaches or speakers, they just want to do that, right? They're like, I love coaching, I love helping people,
Yeah.
but they really don't get the entrepreneur side. So
Yeah.
one thing that woke me up was one of my previous business mentors. He's like, you can be a great coach, you could be the best in the world, or you could have the best book out there. But if nobody knows who you are, you're not going to get that far.
Yeah.
So it clicked for me that it was like, I got to be a great coach, but also I got to be a great entrepreneur. So I just started to embark on the journey of what do I got to know about marketing and advertising? Not only internally, because obviously the energy and frequency you hold is going to also entail what you're attracting in, but
Yeah.
also, how do I open up channels of ads? How do I even make a great YouTube video? What does that look like? So it was like a process of deciding I'm going to be a great entrepreneur. And then what skills do I need to develop in order to be that? So it's
Right.
kind of just a journey of, well, let me just go out there and start building some skills, see what follows. And it's been a challenging journey, but obviously it makes you grow in the standpoint of it. So
What what um what would you say are the biggest pain points that the people that you work with come to you with?
yeah, that's a great question because the pain points are often really painful that they come to me with. So it's very frustrating. The first three things is number one, they're very stagnant with some sort of internal result or mindset. So they feel that they've been stuck treading water. No matter what they do, they work hard, they hustle, they are trying to figure out ways to make things work. But no matter how hard they try, it seems like they're going way slower than they actually want. So that's the first pain point. Second one would be that emotionally, they're feeling very chronically frustrated. Usually they're pretty optimistic people I attract in, positive thinkers. They are willing to develop themselves, but internally they feel really stressed out. They just don't want to show it sometimes. They just feel like I'm not living my potential. And that's a really emotionally stressing thing. And then the third thing would be that they often don't know the how. They know that there's a lot of stuff out there. They've read self-help books or watch some YouTube videos, but it's like they don't have a roadmap. So they often feel confused about what do I do next?
Mm.
What's the next action? I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to put in the work. I show that, but sometimes I need to know like what do I do? So if somebody could just tell me A, B,
Yeah,
and
I
C,
need an outside in perspective because I'm clearly not seeing it, right? Something like that. Like,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 Okay. Which channel gave you the most success at first with this?
Facebook actually was the first one organically.
Nice.
So I didn't run ads or anything like that. What I did was an organic DM, but very authentic, not, just reach out to people and spam people. It was more like, hey, I see your profile. I do some research, make sure their energy's on point. Often they'd be sharing quotes. And then I would reach out to them in DM and say, like, hey, I see that you're a positive person. I have a couple of things that might help you systemize this whole like mindset thing. Are you open to a 10-minute call? And then we get on a 10-minute call and kind of go from there. So my start was organic all the way, and Facebook was a big part of that. So
Nice. And so walk me through the journey of being somebody that wants to join your program or work with you. I mean, likely they see an organic video on one of the platforms or they see an ad, and I'm guessing what you send them to a school lander where they are able to hear about your offer and who's part of it, what it's like to be in the community. Then they join, and once they join, how's like the follow up, or how is the is it like a weekly thing where everybody connects? I'm guessing you communicate via chat and everybody asks questions. How is the ecosystem?
yeah. So it took a little while to build because I've rebuilt things on different platforms until school came out. And I was like, this is great. I really
Yeah.
love the platform. So basically, when somebody joins Prosperity Magnet, they're going to get three pillars. The first one is I have built a lot of content out for 2 years of content where they get one module every week. It makes it really easy because a lot of this, how do I manifest? How do I attract can be super overwhelming. You watch a lot of YouTube videos, it's so you kind of get the idea, but it's all theory. It's like great esoteric concept. So, like, how do I make it practical? So, they'll get a module with a set of actions that makes it practical. Here's what you do, try this out, practice here, here's accountability. And you'll do that on a weekly basis, kind of all chain linked together, one step at a time.
Hmm.
Second pillar is they'll get that support. So, we do some live calls. We give them support to make sure that, hey, you got a blind spot, you got a block, you have somewhere to go, you have somebody on your side basically sharing with you, what to do. And then the third thing is the community. And I think that really should be emphasized. A lot of entrepreneurs, you just need like entrepreneurs around you because probably your family and friends really isn't, they're probably not doing what you're doing, most likely, right? So
Right.
having some community, having people around you inspiring you, I think is so important. So you take those three, that's basically your experience heading into it after you sign up. So
So many people struggle with believing that manifestation works. What would you say to someone who's skeptical but open-minded about trying it for the first time?
yeah. So here's where I'd always start. Look at how many things are invisible in the world right now that would seem astonishing to somebody 100 years ago. Like I got a phone here, a Google Pixel. Okay.
Yeah.
Almost everybody's got smartphones, right? If you explain this thing to somebody 100 years ago in 1924, they would say you're insane. They would say you're crazy.
Yeah.
That you can have a video of somebody across the country instantaneously hearing their voice. They'd be like, what are you even saying? You know?
Right.
So, but that's an invisible thing frequency, it works on frequency bands to
Yeah.
be able to have us understand. The mind, it's just not so believed in modern day society, but I think it will at some point really be a click for society that our mind is the same thing as a cell phone. It's the same idea. So even if you have like, is this manifestation thing actually real? Is it hocus pocus magic stuff? Just find something like if I change the way I think today, I'll at least start to feel differently, right? So if you start saying like, you know, instead of something negative, you start saying something grateful, you can sense it in your body, you start to feel different, right?
Right.
So automatically you can see that manifestation is not just like some attraction magnet of all this crazy stuff. It also can sense it inside your body. You're manifesting feelings, you're manifesting actions in your business, in your career, and you can start there to believe and then just start looking at these invisible things like the phone, and you'll start to see that much of the world is invisible. And that can be a opening of the belief, at least to start.
Absolutely. Now, manifestation, of course, to some people could be vague sometimes. How do you make it a concrete process that leads to real measurable results for them?
Yeah. So I made a process, 5 steps. I'll kind of put in a simple form, but each one has a little bit of depth to it.
Right.
5 steps. First one, you have to decide on what you want. Super easy. It's like Think and Grow Rich. You got to decide. You got to figure out your desire.
Right.
Second one is you form a mental image of the thing you want as if you have it. So say you want 10K a month in the business, right? Your first 10K a month. What would it be like to have that? You see that, you see your bank statement, you see the sales, you see your Stripe account, whatever, right? Seeing it as if you have it. Third stage would be you have to feel the possession of it. So it's kind of like the activator. It's like feeling as if you already have it in that imagination.
Hmm.
Hard to do, but we can always talk about that
Yeah.
on some easy tips to do it. Step 4 is let it go. So you're not attached. Think of it as like if you're chasing somebody around to go get your soulmate or go get somebody, the more you chase, the more they're going to run, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with money. The more you're chasing, the more you're trying to frantically get it. It's not going to work out. So let it go. Focus on building your business, focus on serving people, etc.
Yeah.
And then step 5, be consistent. Because with consistency, it's like fuel to the fire. You're just going to keep that fire going. You're going to keep that movement going. So you focus on those things. It'll create a little more simple process out of it. So
Beautiful. So as they're going through this process, you're obviously finding like common denominators. What are some common mistakes you see people make when they first try to manifest their goals, and how do they correct course?
yeah. So first common one is they overthink. How is it going to come? Where's this thing going to come from? Or when is it going to even happen?
Right.
Obviously, that's a sign of somebody who's thinking in a good way. Like you're trying to figure things out. But the core of manifestation is that it's also beyond us, hard to comprehend, but it's a practice. I believe that manifestation is like speaking a new language. It takes time to become fluent, practice at it, learn the language, right? So if you're overthinking, how's it going to happen? Come back to your center. Instead of pushing it outward, come back to me. What can I do today to take a new step in the business? What can I do today to sharpen my skill? What can I do today to really visualize this even better using my senses and livening the image? So it'll be
Yeah.
a big block that comes up, most prominent one.
Okay. So what I'm like seeing here as like we're talking is that likely everybody who joins your community, your course, is already manifesting, but they're just manifesting the wrong things, right? So, what you're doing is you're helping people like be in a state of mind where they're able to allow all of these things that maybe have been waiting to serve them to finally play out. Maybe people unknowingly manifest, but maybe they have negative mindset, negative people around them. The content they consume isn't probably positive. The way they speak, their relationships, it's all connected. And when you make those changes, um, when you make those changes, you start seeing different areas of your life start getting those improvements, and like it
Yeah.
starts kind of like figuring itself out in a way, maybe not all right away, but you definitely start seeing improvements. Uh, and but it's also not something that it's set and forget, right? So it's a way of thinking and being that you have to almost adopt and um and hold on to in order for things to continue to play out the way you want them to.
Yeah. Yeah, super well said. I like that. Because so much of what we do in this life, I believe that everything is manifested. Everything, like the thoughts you think today, the breakfast you ate, the lunch you had. I think everything counts as a manifestation, but like you said, more are desired and less are desired.
Right.
So the key is how do we bring in more of those desires? And I think an easy way to start is don't try and build the mansion today. Like if you're going to build a 10,000 square foot mansion, you're not going to do it in a day, right? So there's a great video by Will Smith around law of attraction. He just says like, what's the one brick I can lay today to build this wall?
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
what's the one belief that I could change today that would help me and is in harmony with my goals? So an example would be I'm always thinking I'm so frustrated around money. Well, okay, I have this belief that's probably my parents' belief that I got that I don't even realize, right? It's somebody else's belief around money
Yeah.
that I grew up around. So what's one belief that would help me differently around money? Well, I could say something like money has become easier to get in my life, right? That's something believable. You don't have to say you're wealthy right now. It's just like, or you could say something like things are working out better for me than ever before, something that's a new theme in your life and you focus on that theme automatically in the next 30 days you'll just start to feel different. You'll start to see your world starting to change according to that theme. So just starting with one thing is an easy
Yeah.
way of getting through that momentum.
These are
So
mental workouts, man.
yeah,
You're just
absolutely.
kind of like training and brainwashing yourself to do the right thing ultimately. Because
Yeah,
the latter is just hating the way everything pans out for you and just being low energy all the time. I don't think I've ever seen an extremely successful person that feels pity for themselves and talks poorly about themselves and hates everything. Like that to operate at certain levels, you got to think differently. It's growth.
yeah,
It's super
absolutely.
cool to see that people are open to doing that, right? Because a lot of people place blame externally as to why things aren't working for them or those around them, but it's actually them. So it
Yeah.
takes a lot for people to just be like, shit, I need to work on myself. I need to go through a process in order to change things. What is one of the most like memorable like experiences you could recall of somebody from your community who achieved something? It doesn't have to be money or anything like that, but something that was really important to them that stuck with you,
Yeah.
following your frameworks.
Yeah, absolutely. So I remember one individual, actually, it was very recently. His name was Brian. He was already a pretty successful entrepreneur. He was around maybe 20, 30,000 a month. And he was still stagnant at a plateau. Um, and the reason why he was so stuck at a plateau was his thoughts were stuck. It's like when you keep thinking about the same thing in the same way for so long, it becomes like if you feel like it's you.
Yeah.
And then if you believe something different, it feels like I'm losing myself, right? But really, what's going on here is it's a deep form of what we call trauma projection. What I mean by it's big words for basically saying something happened to me in childhood. It doesn't have to be crazy. It could just mean like every time I played Monopoly with my siblings, I always lost. So I formed the theme, I must not be good enough, right? It
Hmm.
sounds crazy, but it
Yeah, it
happens to all
happens
of
all the
us, these
time.
things, right? So for him, he had a feeling of like this unworthiness, and it was from his father. So what we did was change this theme around by changing, it's all change in perspective. We did some deep healing through these 5 steps. And then what happened was the new perspective was my father was in pain and didn't realize what he was doing. It had nothing to do with me. Therefore, I've always been worthy.
Right.
And that was such a huge breakthrough for him. Now, we did that at a subconscious level. So it's not like just talk. We really rewired that subconscious. It took a lot of practice, like you were talking about there. It's mental exercise. And he changed it. So then within 7 months of that the whole stretch is a lot of work. So it wasn't like 7 days, 7 months. He started to do 100K a month consistently from that point because he believed I'm worthy. I'm worthy of money. I'm worthy of success. I'm worthy of good. Uh, but that old side of him was wanted to stay stuck there for too long. It felt like that was who I've always been. And
Right.
that was a very good highlight. Last 12 months we worked with them. So
That's great, man.
yeah.
And yeah, people do get stuck with traumas like that for little things, like maybe because they never won a giveaway at anyway. I've
Yeah.
talked to like a few people that are like, oh, I'll never win a giveaway. I'll never win a prize. And I'm like, well, yeah, if you say so.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I
Speak it
mean?
into existence. Right.
Yeah, exactly. So you emphasize the importance of shifting one's mindset. What are some practical tips that our listeners could start using today to begin changing their mindset towards success?
Yeah. I love practicality because it's like you can have all this theory, but what are you doing with it? Right. So I would say starting to shift your mindset really matters where you're at, in terms of what area you're trying to shift in. But right away, figure out again, what am I thinking today that's really not the best? And find something to replace it. That's always a step one that we've already kind of brushed upon. But the second point here is also where am I putting my focus? So a simple mindset idea is like, where does my mind go? Am I playing video games? Am I watching Netflix? Am I building my business? What am I doing here? So take a little monitoring of your daily actions. What am I doing? Where's my time going? Am I spending an hour scrolling on Instagram? Okay, well, now I see that. Now, if I'm changing my mindset, what's this time that I'm putting into scrolling or whatever this is, how can I take 1% of that and do something that's towards my goal? How can I do 10% of that time, 10 minutes instead of scrolling, instead of, doing whatever? How can I take that time and put it into more of what I want to do? So you're already starting to take the way you are and embodying something different. And very, very easy to do. And then the last practical idea is always what self-image or identity are you embodying, right? Because we're all embodying a certain level of who we think we are or what we're believing. So if you can write down a self-image script, it'll take you about 5 minutes. Who would you have to be in order to have the goal? So if you're already there, you already accomplished the goal, who would it be? Okay, this is my name. Here's the qualities. Here's the characteristics. I'm
Right.
relentless. I am courageous. I'm etc. Write these qualities, characteristics down, and then write a story, like a fiction story, something that if you were already there at your goal, you would say, this happened in this way. Scott became this person, Bob became this person, Stacy became this person. You write this fictional story, and every day you read it out loud as if it's a third person. So you don't say I am, it's Scott is, Alex is, right?
Mhm.
And you get into that script as much as possible night and every single morning. And then you also record it in a like a looping affirmation or something that you can do on your laptop, and you listen to it over and over and over, and you start to see yourself in that aspect. And it's super easy. Anybody can do it. And it's just going to allow you to start seeing yourself as that higher level, right? You
Okay,
start
so
seeing
create like a
yourself as,
fiction story breakdown with other characteristics, with everything that it takes to be that person, and then loop that and get into that mindset and just listen to it and envision visualizations essentially.
essentially, yeah, and really being in the place of feeling it. So I like to listen to like an instrumental music theme song from a movie that I like, whatever it is, and get into a place where you're inspired. It feels like it's real. It feels like you're watching a movie screen as if you're going to the movie theater.
Yeah.
The more real, the more vivid you can put that energy into the picture, the more you're going to accept it into your subconscious. And once it's accepted in the subconscious, that's when you're going to start seeing movement in the physical world.
Okay.
So little tasks. One little bonus one I would say is mirror work is a great one as well. If you look at yourself in the mirror and you say something out loud, an affirmation, a mantra, but you look at yourself in the eyes, it's a very practical way of believing faster because you're saying it from yourself to yourself.
Right.
It sometimes feels a little awkward, but if you can get through that stage, it's super helpful.
Yeah, it's probably a little awkward at first, but because you're not like used to seeing yourself in that way and like, having to face yourself,
Yeah,
like telling yourself the shit that that you need to hear.
right. Exactly. Feels weird. And sometimes I even tell my clients, like, say I love you in the mirror, and they're like cringe. They're like, what does that mean? Right. But if you don't have that
The
self-love
red
for
flag right
yourself,
there, yeah.
right? That self-love is everything and really
Yeah.
speaking to yourself from that place. So,
So for entrepreneurs, mindset is critical to success. What are the mental habits you've developed that have had the biggest impact on your journey?
yeah. So I would really begin with at the beginning of my journey, one of the mental habits I had right away is finding gratitude in as much as possible. Because when you're at the start of your entrepreneur journey, you can complain easy, you can blame others, like you mentioned. It's so easy to lose your power, your core.
Yeah.
But if you can find things to be grateful for, you'll start getting into a different mindset immediately. Like, be grateful you have drinking water and you didn't have to spend 3 hours today cleaning your water, right?
Mhm.
Be grateful they had electricity. You didn't have to probably wire everything in your house. Maybe you did, but probably you didn't to figure everything out to have electricity, right?
Yeah.
So, number one, easy mental habit, be grateful for as much as you can early on. Number two is have an attitude that you will win no matter what. Even if you fail every day, every week for 100 weeks in a row, 2 years, you're going to make it no matter what. There's a quote by Les Brown, a great motivational speaker, that carried me through my first like 3 to 4 months of business. And it was, um, no matter what, I'm going to win. And
Yeah.
being in that place where it's like, no matter what, I'm there. It's possible for me. I can make this work. So keeping yourself inspired, keeping yourself looking up when things are down is really important just to make sure you're moving, or else you're going to stop, you're going to slow down. But really, at the beginning of my journey, those two mental habits I think were the most important to keep me going, keep me building, and then you can build from there. So.
That's solid. What role in within all of this, what role does intuition play in manifesting success? And how do you know when to trust your instincts versus looking more concrete evidence or logic?
Yeah, this
Or
is
more
tough.
concrete evidence or logic.
Yeah, that's tough because most of us think logically and our society is logic based. So when you tell somebody I'm trusting my heart or intuition, there's not many people that will understand. Some will, for sure. Your supporters, those people. I think that you can play with both. And intuition plays an important role in manifesting what you want because you have to really want what you're wanting, like burning desire. So to make it a little practical, whatever you're excited and you're scared about, go and do that thing. Because if you're excited and you're scared, what it's saying is you're becoming a different person, you're elevating in vibration, you are thinking differently, and it's not familiar to you. So, since it's unknown, it's uncertain, it's unfamiliar, exciting and scary is intuition saying that's your next place to grow. Super important. And within that, after you follow that excited, scary feeling, then you can play with logics. So, what do I need to do to, like we said, take a step forward today? What do I need to do to sharpen my mindset? But excited, scary feeling comes first. And that is going to be the journey of that's where your ultimate growth is as an entrepreneur.
Right, right outside of that comfort zone.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're passionate about helping people reach their next level of success and potential. What do you think is the greatest untapped potential that most people have yet to unlock?
Definitely their mind, their subconscious power. I think that most people have no idea who they are. When you say, "Hey, who are you?" They'll say my name. I'm Scott. I'm Alex, etc. Right? And then I say, "Well, that's your name. So who are you?" And they'll say something like, "Well, I'm me." And they point to their body. Well, no, that's your body. Who are you? And my first mentor, Bob Proctor, really had people question this and say, "Who are you really?" And what he had provided me, I've always borrowed as a great line is, "I'm a spiritual being living this physical body with a mind." So the greatest untapped potential, I think, is just realizing you are bigger than the physical body. You're bigger than your childhood. You're bigger than if you grew up around poverty society. You are bigger than that. And if you're bigger than that, you can go higher than that in time. I think it's important. Oh, I think I can't hear you there, Alex.
My apologies, man.
Okay.
You work with a diverse set of people from entrepreneurs to everyday people. What is a recurring theme you've noticed in people who break through their limitations?
So when they've been able to break through the limitations, I think it always has been two trend lines. The first one is they wanted it bad enough. Because if you really just kind of want it, you kind of want things to work out, you don't usually have enough willpower to do the practice needed to go forth to make it work. Where it's kind of like if you want to go to the gym, you're like, I would love to release 10 pounds and gain 10 pounds muscle. But it's like kind of want, are you gonna go all the time? You're not gonna go, right? You're gonna be like, I feel like it today. And then you're gonna sit down and grab some snacks or whatever, instead of going on your diet. So number one, if you're gonna break through limiting beliefs, you gotta really want something on the other side. Start with your why. Why do you want it? What are you gonna do with the money? Or what are you gonna do with having a soulmate in your life? Or why do you want the dream home, the dream car? Like anything that you want, why do you want it? And provide that as your fuel for breaking through the limitations. The second thing with limiting beliefs is that the key component to all this is that you move forward through this fear barrier, that uncomfort spot, because your beliefs often feel like, I don't want to let go of them, or I can prove them right. So if somebody said I had a bad week last week, well, you can tell me A, B, and C on proving to me you had a bad week. You had this sale not go through, this deal didn't go through. You can show me the evidence, right? But instead, if you can find the empowerment in it, you can find the good, you can say, I'm going to go through this and start thinking differently in this belief. As long as you keep that openness, you'll have better beliefs start coming into your life. But as soon as you close your mind, it's impossible to go through your limiting beliefs
Yeah.
because your mind is here. The opening of the beliefs are out here. You got to keep the mind open.
Scott, to wrap it up, what advice or steps would you give someone who's feeling stuck and doesn't know how to start manifesting the life they want? Uh, Something outside of what we've already discussed that maybe you felt we didn't touch on.
Yeah, that's a good question. So if you're stuck, okay, you're feeling like you're treading water, you're stagnant, you're just not moving forward. Okay. Number one, accept it is what it is. Hard to do. Just accept it for the moment. I'm here. That's it. Okay. Number two is as you start to you're wanting to get unstuck, find something that feels like it's exciting for me to do this today, something I'm needing, something I'm wanting for me.
Mm-hmm.
As you start to do that, you'll start to feel a little bit better, like you're making progress. Okay. After that, what's one micro step I can do right now that will help me on my journey? Micro step, a tiny thing. I'm going to answer that email that I've been procrastinating on for 2 weeks that I know might be a potential prospect.
Yeah.
I can do this tiniest thing and stack that up every day for 10 days straight. That's it. 10 days, one micro task every day. By the time you get to the 11th day, you're going to feel like I'm on fire. I just did it 10 days in a row,
Mm-hmm.
right? I just did something that I haven't done. I've been so stuck for 2 years, but I did something for 10 days. That's the breakthrough to get unstuck. Something small, stack it up, you'll start gaining momentum.
Yeah, I love the stacking up formula. I learned a little bit about that. I think I have the book right there, Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Yes.
He talks a little bit about that, a lot about that. It's good. It's great stuff. So before we wrap this up, tell me what you got going on in this backboard right here. Um,
Yeah. So this was my last YouTube video here. You can't see the top of it, but it says the intention 50K a month. Okay.
uh-huh.
To get to 50K a month, like when I first got there, there's this measurement of where you're at in belief. Super cool. So the bottom of it is your closed mind, doubt, wish, hope, curiosity, belief, naturalness. In order to achieve that goal that you're wanting, you have to get to naturalness, as if it feels like it's supposed to be in my life today. So basically, this is a measurement tool to make sure that you get to naturalness. The action plan I did was for 10 minutes a day, do your self image script, like we already talked about,
Yeah.
and loop that script with some luxury music. So type in luxury music in YouTube because
Hmm.
it makes you feel like you're in like a cool hotel or like a
Yeah.
private jet.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it'll just kind of sense that naturalness of like, I'm supposed to be here at this high level.
Interesting. Nice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check out that video. I didn't see that one.
That one's coming out. That one hasn't
Oh,
been
okay.
published yet.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
I appreciate you spending time with us, Scott. Hey, y'all, listen, if you liked anything you heard here, please share the episode with a friend or family member who you feel might benefit from this. You know, a lot of us need help. All of us actually need to have this type of stuff in our life, but some more than others. So if you like the conversation, whatever app you're on right now, go in the show notes and you'll find a link to the website where you'll see the episode page with all the resources. We'll link to Scott's socials and to his school community. And yeah, I appreciate you being on, Scott. You want to share anything before we go?
I think just the last comment would be no matter where you're at right now, life can get better. And sometimes you need to hear it. And sometimes we get lost in the mix of where we're at. So no matter where you're at from this point, 100%, it can get better
Yes,
and
sir.
keep that with you. So
I appreciate your time. See you on the
thanks,
next
Alex.
episode, y'all.